Let's set in a comfortable meditation posture and close the eyes. Put the attention on the silence that's always there deep in the mind. Connect with that silence. You are that silence. You are the silent witness. Now listen to the words of the Yoga Vasishta. Chapter 5, Book 34, continuing with verse 103. The intellect, weakened by its will, does not see the soul in a clear light. As deceived eye has only a dim and hazy sight of the world. The intellect weakened by the dirt of its desire and dislike is impeded in its heavenly flight, like a bird caught in a snare. They who have fallen into the snare of delusion by their ignorant choice of this or that are like blind birds falling into the net in search of their prey. Entangled in the meshes of desire and confined in the pit of worldliness. Our fathers were barred from this unimpeded sight of spiritual light and endless delight. In vain did our forefathers flourish for a few days on the surface of this earth, only to be swept away by a gust of wind, like fluttering flies and gnats into the ditch. If these foolish pursuers of painful worldly pleasures had known the path of truth, they would never have fallen into the dark pit of unsubstantial pursuits. Foolish folks are subject to repeated pains and pleasures by their various choice of things. They follow the fate of their short-lived worms, born to move and die in their own ditches and ponds. He is said to be really alive who lives true to nature and who, by the rising cloud of his knowledge of truth, suppresses his barrage of desires and aversions. The hot and foul fumes of fancy fly far away from the pure light of reason. Just as the hazy mist of night is dispersed by the bright beams of moonlight. I hail that soul which dwells as the inseparable consciousness in me. At last I come to know my God that resides like a rich gem, enlightening all the worlds in myself. I have long thought upon and sought after you, and at last I have found you rising in myself. I have chosen you from all others. Whatever you are, I hail you, my Lord, as you appear to me. I hail you in me, O Lord of gods, in your form of infinity within myself, and in the shape of bliss within my soul of bliss. I hail to you, O Supreme Spirit, the divine silent witness, who is superior to and masterable. I bow down to that cloudless light shining like the full moon within me, and to that identical form which is free from all predicates and attributes. It is the self risen as light in myself, the silent witness is identical to that blissful soul which I find in myself. Chapter 35, Prahlad in praise of self-realization. Prahlad continued, Om is the proper form of the one devoid of all modifications. That Om is this all that is contained in this world. It is intelligence devoid of flesh, fat, blood, and bones. It abides in all things and is the enlightener of the sun and all other luminous bodies. It warms the fire and moistens the water. It goes without walking. It is active in its inactivity. It acts all without coming in contact with anything. It is the past and gone, and also the present and even now. It is both the next moment and remote future also. It is all that is fit and proper, and likewise whatever is unfit and improper. Undaunted, it produces all productions and spreads the worlds over one another. It confines to the turn the worlds around from the sphere of Brahma to the lower grounds of grass. Though unmoving and immutable, yet it is as fleeting and changeable as the dying winds. It is inert as the solid rock and more transparent than the subtle ether. It moves the minds of men like winds shaking the leaves of trees. It directs the organs of sense like a charioteer managing his horses. Consciousness sits as the Lord of this bodily house, carried about like a chariot by the equestrians of the senses, seeing at its own ease, as sole monarch, it enjoys the fruitions of the bodily actions. It is to be diligently sought after and meditated upon and praised at all times. Because only this way can one have his salvation from the pains of his age and death and the evils of ignorance. The silent witness is easily to be found and as easily to be known as a friend. It dwells like the bumblebee in the recess of everyone's lotus-like heart. Uncalled and not invoked, the silent witness appears of itself from within the body. At a slight call, it appears manifest to view. Constant service and attendance on this all opulent Lord, the silent witness, never makes him proud or haughty, as they do any other rich master by his humble attendants. This silent witness is as closely situated in everybody as fragrance and fluidity are inherent in flowers and sesame seeds, and this flavor is inseparably connected with liquid substances. Our lack of reason makes us ignorant of this consciousness that is the silent witness situated in ourselves. Our reasoning power serves to manifest the silent witness to our sight as the most intimate friend. Why is it that we use reasoning to bring into view the silent witness? What has the intellect to do with this whole thing? Because when we find the silence deep in the mind, we are distinguishing between what is silent and what is not silent. To distinguish between two things is the job of the intellect. So thanks to the intellect, we are able to find the silence within the mind. Then we have only to become that silence. It is not an object of attention. It is the subject. We are that silent witness. As we come to know by our reasoning that this silent witness is situated in us, we come to feel an indescribable delight, like the sight of a beloved and loving friend. As this dearest friend appears to view, his benign influence shedding full bliss around us, we come to see such glorious prospects as to immediately forget all our earthly enjoyments. All the person's chains are broken and fall off, and all his enemies are put to an end, whose mind is not perforated by his cravings, like horses' houses dug by injurious minds. When this one in all is seen in us, the whole world is seen in the silent witness. The silent witness being heard, everything is heard in him. He being felt, all things are felt in him. A silent witness being present, the whole world is present before us. The silent witness wakes over the sleeping world and destroys the darkness of the ignorance. He removes the dangers of the distressed and bestows his blessing upon the holy. The silent witness moves about as the living soul of all, and rejoices as the animal soul in all objects of enjoyment. It is the silent witness who glows in all visible objects in their various colors. The silent witness sees itself in himself. He is quietly situated in all things. Like pungency resides as peppers, sweetness and sugar and the like. The silent witness is situated as intelligence and sensations in the inner and outward parts of living beings. The silent witness forms the essence and existence of all objects in the entire universe. The silent witness forms the emptiness of the sky and the velocity of the wind. The silent witness is the light of fiery bodies and the moisture of aqueous substances. The silent witness is the firmness of the earth and the warmth of fire. The silent witness is the coldness of the moon and the entity of everything in the world. The silent witness is blackness in inky substances and coldness in the particles of snow. As fragrance resides in flowers, so the silent witness resides in all bodies. The silent witness's essence fills all space, just as the essence of time fills all duration. The omnipotence of the silent witness is the fountain of all forces, just as this omnipotence supports everything everywhere. As the silent witness unfolds everything to light by the external organs of sight and the internal organ of thinking, so the great silent witness enlightens gods by its own light. I am that I am, without attributes in me. I am like the clear air, not stained by particles of flying dust. I am like lotus leaves untouched by their supporting and surrounding waters. As a rolling stone gathers no moss, so there is nothing that touches or bears any relation to the silent witness. The pain and pleasure which affect the body cannot affect my form of the silent witness. The silent witness, like a gourd fruit, is not injured by showers of rain falling on the outer body, which resembles its hard crust. It is consciousness. like lamp flame. And this consciousness cannot be held fast by a rope. So this ego of mine, which transcends everything, is not tied down by anything to the earth, nor does it bear any relation to the objects of sense or my mental desires, or any existence or not in existence in this world. Who has the power to grasp emptiness or confine the silent witness? You may cut the body into 1,000 pieces, but you cannot divide the invisible and indivisible silent witness rising in me. A pot may be broken or bored or removed from its place, but there is no loss sustained by the air that it contains. In the same way, the body may be destroyed, but there is no damage done to the unconnected silent witness. The mind is as false as a name, as that of a demon, Pisascha. The destruction of the gross body does not injure the immaterial silent witness. What is the mind but the perceptive power of my desires and gross pleasures and pains? I had such a perceiving mind before, but now I have found my rest in quiescence. I find the mind is another thing beside myself because it perceives and partakes of the enjoyments of life and is exposed to the dangers that take the body. But there is another one in me which beholds the actions of the other as a theatric act and witnesses the exposure of the body to peril as its last sad catastrophe. The mind is the wicked spirit caught in ignorance, but the pure silent witness has nothing to suffer. I feel neither the wish to continue worldly enjoyments nor a desire to forsake them altogether. Let what may come to pass on me, and whatever may happen to pass away from me. I have neither the expectation of pleasures nor an aversion to suffering pain. Let pleasure or pain take or forsake me, or it may without being concerned or taking heed of either, because I know fluctuating desires are constantly rising and setting in the sphere of my mind. Now we shall continue established in the silent witness. And begin the Trimana Sanyama process on the esoteric Mahamantra to balance all karmic traces that have been touched upon during today's reading. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Jai Gurudev.